We start our story with a boy waiting outside a girl's door, as she hasn't been to school lately, pretending to be sick. He's quite worried and wants to make sure she's okay. He's also brought over some work for her so she doesn't miss out too much and fall behind on her schoolwork. As he explains what's happening, he asks if he can speak with her for a bit, when suddenly he hears loud bangs and clattering from inside. She finally answers the door, worrying him slightly because of the noise. We see that she has quite an attractive figure and large melons. Lucky guy. She's quite shy and doesn't talk much, which makes him nervous around her, as he thinks she'd be cute if she were a bit more talkative. He says, "All right, I think it's time I leave," feeling a bit awkward with the atmosphere, but he asks to use the bathroom first. However, he opens the wrong door and she yells, "Not that room." Inside, we see a true gamer space, a true weeb space, filled with books, figures, and statues of different anime characters. Shocked, he yells, "What?" She nervously says, this isn't what you think." Worried he'll think she's weird. But to her surprise, he's quite excited, yelling, "Awesome! What the hell is this? It's amazing!" He names all the different statues and books, showing that he's a weeb as well, which shocks her since she didn't expect to meet someone who liked these things, especially someone who seems to enjoy it as much as he does. She thinks, you know about this stuff? She starts to wonder how nice it would be to talk about anime and manga with him, since she's never had the chance to with anyone else. He walks over with a big smile, saying, "Of course I do," and begins asking if she watched a show called Tiger's Sheet yesterday. Her face lights up, and she's suddenly in her element. All her shyness and awkwardness disappear as she goes on a rant about the show, super excited to finally talk about it with someone. After chatting for a while, she apologizes, saying, "Sorry, I got a bit worked up." Hey. She's embarrassed, but he brushes it off, saying, "Don't worry about it. I'd actually enjoy talking about this stuff too." He stares at her, thinking, "Man, she's actually a lot cuter than I thought." Seeing that this new side of her is exciting for him. "Oh wait, sorry you're still recovering," he says. "I apologize. I'll leave now so you can rest." She nervously clasps her hands, saying, "If it's okay with you, would you like to stay a bit longer?" He replies, "Eh? Why?" as she looks at him, blushing and saying, I want to talk more with you." He smiles and agrees, enjoying the moment as he sits down to spend more time with this gorgeous girl. She smiles back, saying, "All right, I'll make us some tea." She's visibly happy. Then he notices something on the floor, a small diary or art book. He's curious and wants to peek, even though he knows he shouldn't, as it might be private. But he thinks, screw it, and opens the book only to find lots of erotic drawings between two men. She seems to really be into drawing this sort of thing. Stunned, he's completely frozen. She yells, "Don't!" but can't stop him in time. Surprisingly, he's interested, exclaiming, "Wow, yaoi characters?" She blushes heavily, yelling, "Don't!" in embarrassment as he keeps talking about the drawings. She collapses to the floor, upset, thinking, "It's over. I'm doomed." But he reassures her, saying, "I'm amazed. Really, this is amazing." She looks at him, surprised, thinking, "This is different from what I thought." She doesn't believe him and says, "So, you must think I'm a disgusting female otaku, right?" He looks at her confused and says, "What? Not at all." She apologizes, saying she thought people would naturally hate this kind of thing. He replies, "Well, you know men think about erotic stuff all the time, right? So it's fine if you do too. No need to be embarrassed." As he praises her work, she's almost on the verge of tears, shocked that someone understands her like this. She blushes and thanks him with a cute look. Then he says, "Well, one thing's a bit weird. The men's proportions are kind of odd." She looks confused, then begins to imagine what he means, blushing heavily as he talks about it openly. He nudges her, saying, Hey, were you thinking about this instead of going to school?" She laughs nervously, saying he's mean. He teases, "Well then, how about I just go ahead and show you mine as a reference?" He chuckles, saying it was just a joke, but she gets excited by the idea and starts drooling, shocking him. He exclaims, "What the hell is with those glowing eyes? I was joking." But she doesn't care and begins undressing, fully revealing herself. He yells, "What the hell are you doing? You can't just do that." She says, "Come on, show me already. I've shown you everything, so I've got nothing to be embarrassed about anymore. You've seen my melons, now let me see your rod." He gives in, showing her, and she stares intensely. Then she goes further, surprising him by, well, taking action. It ends with her calling him a meanie for doing it inside and saying he's the real pervert for acting innocent at first. She jokes, "I thought you were a bottom." He's taken aback, replying, "A bottom?" She goes on, saying, "You're such a terrible sadist," as he calls her an indecent girl. She doesn't deny it, saying, "Well, thank you. Now I can finally draw realistic references." She's super happy while he looks at her in total bewilderment.
Deep in the night, fear takes its hold. The darkness creeps, the story unfolds.